Welcome to Doing Different, episode 12. This podcast is my personal project and is not officially affiliated with any other social media site and sources. Doing Different celebrates women over 50 who are aging gracefully and empower and inspire through their courage, creativity, and individuality as well. Whether you're exploring new passions, tackling challenges head on, or simply finding joy in the little things, this is your space. We welcome those from all walks of life, especially those who are empty nesters, caregivers, chronic pain, terminal illness, divorced, suffering from mental illness, addiction, widowed, authors and podcasters. And on doing different, you are seen, heard, and understood. You are not alone, you have a purpose, and your life is just beginning. My guest today is my friend Autumn. How do you pronounce your last name?
Frazee.
Frazee. And as your friend, Autumn, I know that you've been using your voice in advocating for your son who has autism in regards to the discrimination that he's gone through in his public school employment. And can you elaborate on that a little bit for me and tell our audience a little bit more of, how you've been advocating for him?
Well, my son is 30 years old and we we knew that he had autism since he was about 2, and school was not easy for him, but he did manage to graduate with a New York State diploma, and he also went to a trade school during high school, so he really graduated with 2 diplomas. So he's very capable and he's determined, and really all he wanted, it did take him 2 extra years to graduate, but all he wanted was to be able to work and support himself and be independent. And he's a sweetheart. He's got a great sense of humor, and he's really just an overall great kid. Um, he he did do some temporary work and had some on-the-job training and whatnot for a few years after he graduated, and he landed a job with the public school as a full-time cleaner. That was after proving himself by working part-time as a substitute, that kind of thing. Um, it seemed like it was going to be all right at first. I actually worked at the school at the time. I was an administrative assistant. I didn't work with him. I didn't work on the same shift, and the supervisor didn't know he was my son when he applied. So he did that on his own. I was able to see some of his work, how he was doing, and I know I'm his mother, but honestly, he did as good of a job as anybody else. His area was at least as clean as anybody else's, but they did not like him. His coworkers didn't like him. They knew he had autism from the beginning. He's not he's just not real social. He doesn't look people in the eye. He doesn't go out of his way to make friends with people he doesn't know. He has to learn to trust them first. And he
Right.
didn't come to me when there was problems. So I didn't know about the problems for about 2 years, but the problems were severe to the point where there was um actually he'd been assaulted twice. He went to the supervisor. The supervisor didn't like him, couldn't get rid of him because it was a union job. They said, nothing happened, whatever. I didn't know anything about it because I would have made sure we pulled I mean, police would have been called the whole 9 yards. He was assaulted twice.
Absolutely.
Um, so this carried on, but once I knew about it, he didn't want to give the job up. He's like, so they don't like me. I don't, what am I going to do? Give up the job so I can't have my own apartment and pay my own bills? He didn't have any help whatsoever. He didn't want to give the job up, so he stuck it out for 7 years to the point of being broken.
Wow.
Like he had a
Wow.
complete and total mental breakdown. It was
That's a long
hospitalization.
time
Yeah,
for him to put up with all of that. Wow.
it was severe, severe. Okay, when he was a young child, I mean, he got what he needed in school. We were in North Carolina for most of his education. North Carolina, I don't know, we did very well there. My other 2 children did very well down there. He had what he needed. when he was in public school, when we
Was it
moved up
like an
here.
IE? Did he have like an
Yeah,
IEP?
he did. He had an
And they
IEP.
did the accommodations and
Mhm.
they abided by those accommodations?
Sure. Yep. He had great teachers, and he did a couple of years in a private school. That wasn't really my choice, and he didn't have an IEP during that time, but his teachers were good to him. I have no complaints about the school system in New York State or in North Carolina. He did very well.
Did he
Um,
have a job coach when he went to get the job at the school
no, by
that he
then
was
he
at
did.
for 7 years?
No, by then he did not. So once
Okay.
things started going south to the point where he needed me to intervene, we offered that, but it just didn't work. I mean, they just kept nitpicking until, he finally, like I said, he literally broke. When he was little, I did things to advocate for him, but not because I was upset with the school, just because I was a mother, I was learning. There were other parents out there that none of us knew what to expect. What do you do? Socialization, that kind of thing. So I began a support group in my county, and it grew to cover 4 counties with the Autism Society in North Carolina. And that county um, group that was meeting when I started it 20 years ago, they're still meeting. So I'm very proud of that. Um,
Yes.
anyway, but fast forward and here we are. Um, I
But isn't
just
that,
it
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but before I
mhm,
forget, isn't that discrimination? If they know that he has
absolutely.
autism
Mhm,
and he's working for them and
mhm,
they are mistreating him and abusing him basically,
mhm,
that is discrimination. And that's why I asked you if he had a job coach that helped him get the position, because
mhm.
a similar thing happened with my son.
Mhm.
And it was important to have that job coach. And then
Well,
if there was any issues after that, then you could file for discrimination.
well, we did file for discrimination through EEOC, which is that's federal. That's not just New York State. And that was coming off of COVID. They probably had a lot of claims or whatever. They didn't say that there was no basis for it, but they didn't offer to cover the cost of the attorneys. So it was in New York State, you do have to EEOC, you can't just sue your employer without going through EEOC. You have to get the right to sue, which we
Right.
did get. Trevor had the right to sue. Um, but by that point, he had reached his limit, and he probably still could sue, but he would have to be able to go through all of the court proceedings and go over it again and again. And we've talked to several lawyers, and it's not easy to sue your employer.
Yeah.
Um, and he can't go through it anymore. He's just
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
He's been through too much. It did too much damage. So then here I am. Now it's like, okay, so I need to fight for him right now, not to get his job back, not looking for money, just to get his story out there,
Right.
to help somebody else, because I want you to think about something. My son was born in 1995, and at the time, according to the CDC, 1 in 150 children were on the autism spectrum. That's about 0.7% of children in
Yeah.
1995. And today, as of May 2025, 1 in 31 children at
Hmm.
the age of 8 are identified with autism spectrum disorders. That's 3.2% of the population.
Yes.
Think about
Yes.
that. Think about
And
how far
what
the
do you
numbers have
think that
come.
is? Why do you think that is? I'm just
Um,
curious.
I, I believe it's environmental. I don't
Yeah.
believe it's genetic because there's nobody else in my family that has autism. My father had a lot of like characteristics like my son. I always said, "Oh my goodness, you're just like grandpa." Maybe if dad had grown up in this generation, maybe he would have been identified. I'm not sure, but it was much more noticeable. I don't
Yeah.
know if dad would have been diagnosed, but anyway, I think it's environmental. I think it's foods. I think it's vaccines. I think it's all kinds of things. I am not a non-vaxxer. I am just saying I believe that some of the vaccines that have been used over the years have things in them that shouldn't be in them. and
And I
have
agree
had.
with you. I have
I
to
think
say that I agree
Mercury
with
was
you.
present. Yes, I'm not an. I definitely vaccinated my children, and
Right.
I
Well, I vaccinated mine all the way up, and I gave my son above and beyond because he has a lot of disorders, heart condition, blood
right.
disorder, everything. And I went above and beyond with him, beyond the schedule, and they added more than when you and
Hmm.
I got our
Yep.
vaccines. They
Hmm.
added more ingredients, and today they added even more,
Right.
and they give them even more. So
Right.
even though I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but
But I do think.
I have to say, and this is my personal opinion, so don't anybody get mad at me.
Mhm.
The mixture of the MMR and the DTP and what are the three? There's, yeah, the MMR. The MMR is the three.
Yeah.
I believe that that contributed a lot. Um, my son was diagnosed with high functioning autism at the age of 18, and
Mhm.
um and that was only because we were grasping for straws. We were trying to find out, you know, I was looking into what are more disabilities that he may have, because
Right.
he had so many disorders. He had an IEP, and the poor
Mhm.
kid struggled his entire life and lived his entire life at the children's hospital. He had
Oh.
surgeries, he had blood transfusions. They removed his spleen at 7, his gallbladder at 3.
Oh
His
God.
body was attacking itself. So I wanted to know, the
What's
teachers were
going on?
saying that he was not attentive, that he wasn't paying attention. I get called to the school, he's just not staying on task. And so it wasn't anything severe, but it was
Yeah.
enough to try to find out what's going on. So getting back to what do I think, or what do you think might have caused something like that, is I do believe that it is a combination of things, just like you believe. And I do, wish that I could go back in time and be more careful.
So the
But I
things that I
I
would
trusted my
change,
physician.
right? There are things I would change if I could go back in time, and I wouldn't say no to the vaccines. But at the time, mercury was used to increase the shelf life of the vaccines, and it
Mhm,
wasn't necessary. If you were willing to pay the difference, you could get vaccines with no mercury in them.
mhm.
There's something I would have done differently. I didn't have a spinal or any of that. He was natural, but I did accept a couple shots of Stadol to help me relax between contractions, which I didn't really know. Like at that point, you're just going to do whatever the doctor tells. I just wanted
Right.
to reach in and pull them out. I didn't know anything about any of that stuff that had mercury in it, and I didn't know that. I didn't had no idea at the time, no idea. My daughter was born with. I did have a spinal with her. She's perfectly healthy. And then there was my son, and then my youngest son. I was so advanced into the labor that I didn't have time to take a Tylenol. So,
Oh my
but
goodness.
and I knew a little bit more by the time my youngest came. But with him, with the son with autism, there are a few things I would have done differently. But here we are, and he has autism, social anxiety. That's it. He has doesn't have ADHD, so it doesn't change his lifespan. His
Yeah.
life expectancy is the same as any average person, and so are most individuals
Yes.
spectrum. So what do we think is going to happen with these people when we have somebody that's willing and able to work,
Yeah.
and he was willing and able to clean in a public school, which is where I thought he would be safe because
Yeah.
it's, a public school. We protect our special needs children. Why wouldn't
Yeah.
that be a safe place for him to clean toilets and mop floors, right? It was the worst thing ever. I feel guilty as a parent for even suggesting he try
But
because
you
of,
can't blame yourself for that. They
oh,
need
their
to be
behavior
they
was
need to
awful. They
they
need to
need to
be
be
held accountable,
accountable.
and they never will be. And that's fine. In the end, will they be judged? Yes, but it won't be by me. Um,
Right.
in the meantime, I just have to do what I can for my son, and it makes me sad. I'm hoping.
What is the status now? I mean, is he currently working or
No.
looking for work or just,
He was
resting?
hospitalized for so long that I wouldn't even suggest he try to work. Disability did go through for him, so right now he's on disability, and
Yes.
he's been out of the hospital for about 6 months.
Has it been that long?
It's been that long, but he had one quick, a shorter
Oh,
stay.
okay. Because I thought
There's
that
gonna be,
I knew you when
yeah,
he
yeah.
was in
It
the
was a
hospital.
long, it was a, it's been a rough year. It's been
Yeah,
a rough 7 years, but the last year has been really a nightmare. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, not even the people that did this to him. I wouldn't even wish it on them. But so
you're a
he's
strong mom. You're a very strong mama.
I don't know. He did just finally get into his own apartment, which is
Wow.
he's independent. It's kind of like um for elderly or those with disabilities. It's very safe in our little tiny
Is it
little
like
community.
ADP?
It's
Because we have ADP. It's for disabled people, and there's a level. It goes from 1 to 7, and if you're 7, you're probably never going to get in. And it goes from the least severe to the most severe for like blindness or,
oh,
um,
it's
uh,
probably we don't use that term in New York, but it's probably the same type of thing. It's to be qualified to live there, you have to be of a certain age or have a qualifying disability,
yeah,
which he does. And it is it's income based, so it's affordable for him and he seems very happy there. And I hope it
that's
works out for him
great.
because he and he's when he was staying with he got out of the hospital, we had him give up his apartment um once he stepped away from that job. I'm like, there's no, I mean, he had several months of pay still after he left because they accepted some responsibility, but we had him give up the apartment because it wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
And
Is
that
his
probably
apartment close to you now?
hmm Yep, he's just a few
Good.
minutes away, and I kind of try to give him distance. I leave him alone as in, but he reaches out to me, and we have our
Yeah.
routine. Go grocery shopping every Saturday morning, and but he walks around town. He goes out and gets something to eat. There's a couple of restaurants in town, and he'll go and get something to eat on his own, or one of the waitresses at the the popular little restaurant in town said, "Oh, I saw your son, and he was with somebody." So I don't know who he was with, but I'm not going to ask.
Yeah.
He's doing well, but it just makes me sad to think that our society is that way. Like how many other people are like him
A
that
lot. A
right
lot.
that should really be able to work and
Yes.
can't because of ignorance and discrimination and
Yes.
overall ignorance because the worst offenders at the position were the supervisors, worst offenders.
Yes.
So,
And
like, you're
I
disgusting. You make me
we're
sick.
possibly facing something similar because, and I can't talk about it too much, but we didn't really know at the time when he was diagnosed in 5th grade because he got in trouble for not listening. And I cried so much because I disciplined him thinking that he was not listening to
Mhm,
the teacher.
mhm.
He never said, you know, I don't think he ever said he couldn't hear them. And
He
then we
probably didn't
found
even
out,
realize it.
no, I think he thought that I don't know what if he thought it was normal the way that he used to hear very fine.
Oh, he did.
We found out that it was a possibility that the gentamicin that they gave him intravenously for one of his hematologic crises when he had to get blood transfusions and get his spleen removed in an emergency situation. He almost died. I had no idea that that amount of gentamicin put into IV continuously could have affected his hearing. I was a
Wow.
nervous wreck. I signed a stack of papers this thick, giving them permission for blood transfusions and IV solutions, whatever they may be. I had no support. My husband was always working. Um, my daughter was 2. She was being babysat by my in-laws, and I was a nervous wreck. And I never even really I read through it, but at the time I was not knowledgeable in any kind of medical terminology. Well, believe me, I am very knowledgeable. 30, he's 30, and I'm
Mhm.
very knowledgeable now. But we found out that he had progressive hearing loss.
Oh.
Not too, I mean, we found out that he had hearing loss in fifth grade, but I didn't realize it was progressive
Hmm.
until not too long ago. His position in the workforce, he needs his ears. He needs to be able to hear.
Hmm.
And so right now we're sitting on edge because he's been at this place for 5 years, good benefits, um, pension and all of that. And if I might be in that same situation again where I'm advocating for him as you have, helping him, and we'll see where it goes. So you're right. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have disabilities, have autism, and what's going to happen when their advocates, us, the parents,
Hmm.
pass away?
Yeah.
Who's going to help them? Who's going to advocate for them? The
Yep.
system has dropped the ball, and
Yes.
there needs to be um, we need to make our voices heard. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to interview you, because we need to get it out there that, help people feel, or know that they're not alone. We
Right.
are, and there's so many people out there in the same situation, and they're so frustrated, and they end up giving up and just saying whatever, just do whatever. And
Yeah.
I'm proud of your son for wanting to be on his own and for getting out there, and for sticking it out for so long with his employer, and withstanding all of that discrimination and bullying. That says a lot about you as a mom and what you instilled in him to be a strong man. And
And
so
he
you
is. Yeah.
you should be very proud of yourself and of him. And I just say, don't give up, just keep advocating, because someday, some way, there's got to be, maybe we should go out there and do some protesting. Maybe we should, you know, get a group together. And that people protest about things all the time. Something has to change, because the ADP housing, the implementation of IEPs, even in the workforce, because you can
Hmm.
have that. You can right now, my son's accommodations have been looked at, but they have not been implemented.
Hmm.
And that's a huge, huge ordeal. Why? Because by the time they said, give us 6 months, by the time they look them over to implement them, guess what? He has to go to another physician, and he has to get it all drawn up all over again. So that's a big, huge flag right there. And we need to think about what we're going to do. So we need more voices heard like you and we need to get the word out that we got to do something. We got to research it some more and do something. And maybe there's a lawyer listening out there. Maybe there's somebody that could give us some help or some input on what to do next. Or for anybody else out there that's just starting out, their kids are what, maybe 7, 10 years old. They need to be planning right now
That's
for
exactly right.
exactly. You need to start really young. Um, I even got my son a disability scholarship. We started in sixth grade, and he was able to go to college for free based on me advocating for him. But I had to do it from sixth grade and up and go through the motions and the steps and everything. Had it not been for the, chair scholar, I don't think he would have ever been. We were poor. And
Hmm.
so I would not have been able to help him in college. And so thank God that he was able to go to college based on that scholarship. And that's a wonderful scholarship. So, yeah, we need to get more voices heard. So I am just really proud of him. I really am. And I wish you the best with him, and I wish him the best too. And I hope that you keep in touch with me and let me know how he's doing.
I will. Yeah. He's doing, yeah,
Is there
he's,
anything else that you wanted to say in regards to that, and in regards to any more work that has been done on his behalf, or Um,
The only thing I'm hoping to do in the immediate future on a local level is just find support here. There aren't any support groups in this. I live in a
yes,
very rural area in upstate New York, and there was a lot of resources available in North Carolina. We lived in the Raleigh-ish area. There's nothing like that here. I don't know if I could get him to go to a meeting, but he needs other people that are
yes,
like him. He needs to be able to connect with people like him. Um, you know, a lot to be said for that. I've found my own people. I need my own support because, aging and empty nester and all that stuff. That's it's tough stuff. And so I have had to find my own networks and that's worked for me, but there isn't anything out there for him or for even parents like me. Like my connections are more like aging and menopause and the love of
right,
quilting, reading, and but there needs to be. So that's something that I've looked a little bit into, but really haven't pushed myself enough with. And there's stuff available virtually, but I think there's a lot to be said for being able to get together in person, face to face,
right. Like
that
networking, there
go
should be
bowling with
something
or whatever. Yeah.
because, you have AA groups all over the world, and every single city you can find AA, you can find Al-Anon.
Yes.
You can find emotional support groups through psychiatrists,
Right.
but there has to be something. I think it'd be a great idea if maybe you have the energy to do it, try to create your own in your area.
That's right.
Try to
When
get
I
it
did it
out
years
there.
ago, I did it under the Autism Society of North Carolina. I got my own chapter going. So here, there isn't the Autism Society of New York. There is one, but there's no branches anywhere near me. It's like city stuff, New York City. I'm hours away from New York City.
Oh,
So yeah,
wow.
I could probably, I need to do that. I need to do that. Um, the first thing I did was I left the district. I went back to school. I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm sitting here in this administrative office serving nobody but the person mostly responsible for the damage to my son.
Yep.
That's not working for me. So I went back to school and I earned my teaching degree and I'm a special education teacher now. So in that way, I feel like I
At
am
what
helping.
age? At what age?
What age did I go back to school?
Yeah.
I was over 50.
Yeah, me too.
And
That's another
yeah,
thing we have in common.
it's
I was
right.
54,
It's not
54.
easy. I
No. And I did education too. I was working for an elementary school.
yeah.
Yeah, and then COVID hit.
Yeah. Well, COVID is really was the last straw with me with what
Yeah,
was going on with him and the boredom and the nothing will make me feel more useless than to sit in an office with one human being that I don't respect. So that had to
right.
change. And now I work in a building with adults that I do respect, but mostly working with little kids
Yeah.
who that's what the world is all about. And if I
Yeah,
can help one or two of those little kids grow up and not have the issues that my son has had, what more could I ask for?
that's
So
right.
that's
And
good.
that's
But
I love working with little kids too. And that was my goal was to be an elementary school teacher. And I was up until COVID, but I didn't go back. There was too many of us here in the family got sick, and I was
yeah.
my mother needs me, and right now
Mhm.
that's more important than anything,
Yeah, maybe
Um,
someday. It's a
but
possibility later.
that reminds me, or that brings me to the next question, because you love working with little kids.
Mhm.
And so I know that you've written a children's book that you want to get published. And what was the inspiration behind that?
So that worked out perfectly. It was actually part of a literature class when I was in college. I live in the Adirondack Mountains, so one of my assignments was to write a children's story, right? Well, that's fine, but I really got into it, and it started out as just we really did have a little baby snapping turtle hatch in our driveway way later than the rest of the eggs. Like the ground was starting to be frozen. The puddles in the driveway had ice on them. I'm like, how is that little guy gonna make it? So we moved him to where the creek is. And that's what I'm like, that could make a really cute story. And I'm like, light bulb. And so I did. I wrote that story, but of course, I I made it like he had an adventure to find his way up from here to the creek,
Yeah.
which really isn't that far, but for a little tiny turtle, it would be far. And there's little critters in the yard and all that he comes across. And it happened at the time when my dad was he was declining. Um, he knew I was in college. He was declining in and out of the hospital, kidney disease and Lewy body dementia. He knew I was in school and seemed happy about that. Knew I was writing a story, but when the story was finished, that was Dad's end of life. Like he was in the hospital and he wasn't
Oh.
coming home. And part of the assignment was to narrate the story. So I narrated it by reading it to my dad in the hospital. He
Oh.
ended up he passed away the next day. But as I was reading it, I realized this is so much like my dad. He had all of his siblings. Well, he has one left, but all of his siblings passed away before him. So they were already asleep, so to speak. And Dad's name was Stephen. And the little turtle had to get to the creek and nestle into the mud so he could go to sleep before the
Oh.
ground froze. And he was and he would be with his siblings. So it just kind of like connected and related. It just sounded like Dad. It connected really nicely. It's kind of a cute story. And he got
And
to
I've
hear it.
seen it.
That's
I've
good.
seen it because you shared it
Yeah, I
in one of
did.
our other Zoom classes in another
Yeah.
social media site, but I saw it and I'm telling you, you got something there and you
It's
need to
cute.
get that published. I
I
mean, because
do.
that is the cutest little thing.
I don't know how to, I mean, there's different ways you can do it without a bunch of money in your hand. I guess Amazon might be the best way, but that's my challenge is figuring out how
Yeah.
to get it published
Well, I
without
think
breaking the
that
bank.
there are some resources that both you and I know people,
Yeah.
and I think there are some people that you could ask in our um, area of friendships that we
Yeah.
have that would be able to help you. I've interviewed now, I think, 5 authors. And I also I just started writing my book, but it makes me very nervous just to think about the publishing part. And
Me
that
too.
kind of sets me back. So, because I get real nervous about it. So,
Yeah.
but I plan on asking lots of questions and trying to get everybody's
Yeah.
input. But you're right about Amazon. You could just self-publish it yourself. I also have a cousin that's an author, and my niece is an author. She writes children's book about her daughter who has autism, my great niece, and she also
Hmm.
has something else wrong where the white matter or the gray matter of her brain didn't develop. And
Hmm.
so she lives in a she's 29 and she lives in a home, a girl's
Hmm.
home, a group home, and trying to be as independent as possible. But yeah, so um I have to ask her, how did she publish her book? Because it's the cutest little
Yeah.
thing. And so I can't wait for you to tell me in the future, hey, guess what, Kim? I've just published my
It's sent
book.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
can't
will
wait for
happen.
that.
I wanted it to happen this summer. Last summer was so bad. It's when my son was in the hospital. It was just the worst year of my life.
I
This summer,
remember that.
then the first summer as a teacher where I got to not work over the summer and I've got to do a lot of things I wanted to do, like some quilting and I'm doing some volunteer work and that's awesome. But I didn't get the publishing stuff done. But I will get that
Oh,
done and
that's
we have
okay,
to
but you
encourage
got
each
that
other.
beautiful quilt behind you done right there.
Yeah, I did.
That
And then
nine
there's another
patch
one
quilt.
started and then there's another one I've done for my volunteer program.
Oh,
I get
yes. Oh, you got the barn on there. Oh my goodness, it looks so good. I
That's going to go
really,
to a
really
charity
like that.
auction. I'm kind of pleased with that. It came out good. I just
I
finished it
need more
today.
time. I need
Yeah.
more time to work on the current one. I
Mhm.
haven't gotten past block number one. And so, but I need motivation. So,
Well, that's
but I
something
will do
we
it.
can work on together.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That's
I would like
it's
that.
important too to find these little things. Painting's another
Oh
thing.
yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
doing I'm doing my painting, my free painting classes just for something for
Oh,
fun to get people together and just my motto is just do it. Just
just
do
do
it.
it.
I mean,
I am doing it.
we're not getting any younger,
That's right.
and as we get older, we need to really focus on healing ourselves. And
Mhm.
painting is a huge therapeutic, and so is quilting,
Yep.
and it's huge therapy. And I try to balance both. And, one is taking the back seat right now. And I'm afraid if I let the quilting go, that I'm never going to return to it. It's never, the patterns are going to sit there, the material's going to sit there, the investment's going to sit there, and I'll visit it back maybe in 10 to 15 years, because that's
Tell you
usually what happens if I don't have the um the motivation. If I'm it's not like that with painting. That's complete. I can't understand what the difference is with the two creativity outlets, but painting, I need inspiration. If I see a beautiful scenery, or I see something like flowers, that I go, oh, I'm going to paint that. Quilting is different. Quilting includes math. And
So
it also includes working with scissors and a rotary cutter. And it's like, oh my gosh, I need the motivation. Like, you can do it, Kim. Do it, do it, do
yes, we got to
it.
start working together on that stuff, and that's doing different because honestly,
Yes.
these are things that I didn't make the time for myself
No,
years before. The painting, forget it. No self-confidence. I never would have even tried it, but thanks to
I
you, I have
saw
my
your
painting.
I
So,
saw your painting, and you are a true blue artist, and I'm not just saying that.
well, I
And
don't
you
know.
didn't
I mean,
post it yet, but you need to post
and
it,
I will,
because
but I want to add to it. But
there's
you know,
two people that have posted theirs, and one of them wasn't able to make it to my Zoom, but she was able to see part of my lesson on a live on my Facebook group. And she just posted it like today or yesterday, and
I'll have
it's
to go and check.
phenomenal. And Laura posted hers, and so I'm like, okay, Autumn,
See,
do the
I will.
finishing touches so we can
I
see
could
yours,
just
because
post it like it is because it is it's fine. It looks good. I wanted
it
to add in a
does.
flag. I just wanted to add in a flag. I just feel like
Oh
it needs a little bit
yes.
of a wave of a flag off to the corner.
Yes, that's right. So you are very talented, and your quilting is phenomenal. Was this the first time that you ever endeavored in quilting?
I did some, I've done baby blankets, but just not like you would look at it and think, oh, a novice quilter did this, which is fine, but that's not what you're always looking for. This one behind me, the nine patch, is more like an heirloom quality now because I went out there
The
and took a
quilting.
class and learned the process better, and I have more confidence. But that's
Yes.
because I did different and I made time for myself to do that. And
I messed up on mine, but it's okay. It's it's still okay, because it will always remind me of where I went
you,
wrong,
yeah,
But it,
yeah.
it was a fall quilt, a nine patch, because I wanted to do something, and then the two hurricanes hit back to back, and
I
that
remember.
really put me behind.
Yep.
And then I wanted to hurry up. I wanted to just hurry up before the next class started. And so I just started sewing, and I didn't
Oh,
alternate the blocks.
mhm.
So there's a strip on each side of the quilt, where the blocks, you got a plain block, a plain one, and then you got the pattern, and then the plain.
You did it
So
on both sides?
yes,
So it's symmetrical. That's what
yes,
you meant to do. That's all.
yes. And then I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to do the backing myself, or the binding. And I
Yeah.
went ahead and did it. And then I thought, okay, now I need to get the quilting done. But it's like, this thing is heavy. I mean, I did everything except the quilt.
So I'll show you something I did this time around. I don't have a long arm machine. I don't have a heavy duty machine that I can do the machine quilting on. I am
Yeah,
thinking
me
about
either.
getting one. But you can also just tie it off, and that's what I did with this one. Can you see let's see, right here.
Oh, oh, okay.
Get it to line up with my camera, but that's
Oh,
embroidery
okay.
cloth. So I just
Yeah.
did that in the middle of each block. I did a tie off, which is more like what they would have done back in the days of, in the 1800s. They
I
wouldn't have
always
seen.
wondered about that. I would always see like little pieces of yarn sticking out of each
Yeah,
block, and
they
I'd
were
say,
tying it
why
off.
why would they do that? Like, why would
That's
they?
why.
And it was because there was no quilting machines back then,
Right.
right?
And now I could have hand done it, which is something else they would do back in the 1800s, but I don't have time to because the auction is coming up soon. So I didn't have time to
That would
do
take a
that.
lot of
But
time to hand
that would
quilt.
take forever. Now that's something like the Amish families to this day, they get together and the whole group of women would be in a circle around a quilt. They'd stretch it out
Yeah.
on a quilting frame and they would all work on that together, which would be fun if I had a group of women to do that with, but I don't. So I tied that one off. I just
I
tied
think
that
there
one off.
was a movie about that called The Quilting Circle, and where they all got together. Oh, I wish I could remember the name of it. I'll have to look it up
I
and
mean,
send
I
it
would
to you.
love to do that. That would be something else I would get right into. Matter of fact, there is a quilting circle type meeting thing I could go to about 20 minutes away. It's every
Oh, wow.
Thursday, but I
Oh,
don't
I'd
have
do it
time.
if I were you.
I would love to, but I intended to do it this summer. Like, oh, I could go on Thursdays during the summer, but the summer only lasts so long and
Right, right.
it's
And then you're
halfway
back
over.
to school, back
Yeah.
to school.
Yeah.
Well,
But
that's
anyway,
okay.
in
It's
the
a good
future,
goal. You never know.
yeah,
Maybe next year, maybe next summer you
exactly.
could do it, because
Maybe
then you
so.
won't be as busy.
Right.
But also I wanted to ask you my next question is if you had any advice for our listeners out there on how they could take that first step in using their voice to advocate for their kids, for others, anybody that they know, because um, I know that, you said that the first step is to not hold back. Don't
Hmm.
hold back. Use your voice, find people. Um, what else would you recommend? I know that, you know, um, you've been learning and I've been learning as well. That we need to let our light shine. We need to get our voices heard, and we need to be and to surround ourselves with support. And I
Hmm.
know that you've been doing that. And I think that, and I've done that. And I think that that has been a huge, huge help for you and for me. And so, is there anything that else besides all of that that you would like to tell the audience, like some advice of, is there any recommendations that you can give?
So if it's looking for advice on how to be an advocate, m- um, or just getting your voice out there, I don't know, but finding finding other people in similar situations that are flailing about like we have over the years, just finding them. You can start networking. You don't need to be
Yes.
organized for that. It could be as easy as, in my case, parents at school. Start there. Um, and then, I mean, I've gone past that with my son because he's 30, but that's how I started it when I started my group in North Carolina. It was a matter of connecting with one parent in the hallway that I knew had a child similar to my son, got talking, shared frustrations, and then decided we should have a meeting. We should gather other parents around, and then that gives, we'd meet at I started meeting at a local pizza place and publicized it as bring your child's welcome. We're used to the noise.
Um,
We're used to, and then they came like you invite
yeah.
and they showed up and they got bigger and bigger and we ended up
And it's
meeting just
still
a year.
going on today because of
Yeah,
you.
they still meet. They
So
still
you
meet.
made a difference. You made a difference. You did something different, and you
Yeah,
did it, and now I know that, you're not near like a city or anything for parents of adult children with
right.
autism. That's what, if there was something out there for parents of adult children with autism, that would be
Yeah.
so great. But for
Mhm.
our listeners, yeah, I think that's a great idea is to just start networking, just start asking around, create a
Mhm.
meeting yourself. Like you, Autumn, our listeners, they could just, like you said, have a pizza party, invite, reach
Mhm.
out, don't stay alone. That's the most, I think that's where I made a mistake, is that thinking that nobody else out there is going through what I'm going through.
Yeah, because you feel so
and
isolated. You're sure you're the only one.
very
Because it's very
isolated.
isolating. It's extremely
I
isolating.
had nobody. I mean, I'm not going to say nobody. I mean, I had my mom at the time, I had my husband, but I didn't have one friend. And I
I'll
didn't
tell you
have,
what, did you notice this at the time when you're struggling? You have young children and you're struggling. I found that as much I love my mom and as close as we were, she wasn't the answer because
yeah,
that's my grandson we're talking about. She
yeah,
was not able to help because she would get hyper herself. So now we
yeah,
get together and we're like really hyper.
yeah.
You got,
That's me and my mom too.
yes, I get that. So it's more a matter of finding other people who are in it, other people who are, you know,
Who
family
are
has its
have the same
place.
age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Family
Somebody
has
who's
its place, but I needed to know she supported me. Yes, I love you and I support you, and that's why I'm hyper like this. That's fine. But you also need to find your calm.
and what was awkward to me was I was living at the All Children's Hospital like his entire life.
Mhm.
And wait a minute, this is blinking. Why wasn't there anything made available to those of us in the hospital with our kids? I mean, they had little carts coming around, letting the kids pick toys and coloring books, and they'd let them have chocolate chip cookies. And, us moms, are sitting each in our hospital rooms, um, just sitting there looking at a video on TV with your sick child. And I just felt so isolated that had I known what I know today, had I had the boldness that I have today, I would have started walking up and down those halls and I would have been saying hi to everybody. And I would have been saying, hey, you want to go down to the cafeteria and have some coffee and start collaborating, start talking, just try to make
Check
friends.
in
But
with each other once in a while. Yeah,
yeah, but I didn't. I didn't
right.
because I felt different. I felt that I don't know what it was, but I think that as life went on and then the just more disorders came about. It was like a new disorder every year. And I think that as life goes on, a person gets stronger through their trials and tribulations, and it makes you stronger to the point where you will search, you will seek, and you will find that support. So I'm urging our listeners today, our younger listeners, because this is open to all ages. I mean, it's basically for 50 and older, but I know there's going to be some younger listeners out there that possibly have kids with autism, heart disorders, blood disorders, bone disorders, genetic disorders, whatever it is. Don't stay alone. Reach out, talk, talk about it. If you don't have a counselor, if you don't have a group, when you're in the hospital with your child, go to another person there that has a child and just talk to them. You've got to reach out. You can't do this alone because,
And you're
I mean,
sharing
yes, you can do
resources
it.
that way too. You're sharing resources, you're sharing just camaraderie, you're sharing your children, you're sharing stories, you know,
Right.
it's going to
And
be good for your kids in the long run too.
yeah, and so yeah, just get out there and look up, support groups on the internet and social media sites that have um groups within them and everything. You could do that too. So I wanted to also ask you, Autumn, like what are your goals right now for the next 1 to 3 years? What are the goals that you want to focus on?
I want to get my book published, my little children's book.
Hmm.
I'd like to, I keep a journal, but I'd like to get some of my story written down. My story, my journey with my son, and not only the autism aspect of it, but the mental health crisis aspect of it too that he's been through because of the discrimination and the bullying in the workplace. I'd like to get that written down. So I will say a book number two, but for publishing for both of them.
Yes,
But the
get
book
them both
itself,
published.
yeah, And I'm hoping that in the long run, especially getting my story written down about the abuse in the workplace, I'm hoping that it's difficult for me to know what direction to go with that, to not come across as an angry mother. I'm hoping today when I talked with you, this might be helpful for me. I'm hoping that I didn't come across as an angry mother. It's a story, it's real, it's out there, it's happening to
That's
other
right.
people.
That's
And
right.
I don't want it to happen to other people.
But it's okay to be
I
angry about it.
well, I am
It's
angry,
it's
but I'm
part of our
also,
healing. It's part of the healing process.
I want to put that anger towards something. I will ask you a question. Have you ever, I don't know if I can say this. It's a name of a company that's only employs individuals with autism. Have you ever heard of it? It's Popcorn for
Uh,
the People. It's a
pop
wonderful popcorn
popcorn?
for the people. Look it up on the internet. Look at
No.
it's so awesome. I just picked a bag of it up at a rest area one day. I'm like, oh, this is really good popcorn. Then I got reading about it. I'm like, oh my God, they employ only people with autism. And then
No
I did some
way.
searching so I could buy some for my kids at school for snack time. And they have a whole, you can find it if you just Google popcorn for the people. It's a wonderful company. Why don't we have more stuff like that? So it's just, that kind of thing.
Oh, so they employ people with
I,
autism and they make
yeah.
popcorn.
They make all kinds of popcorn.
That's
Wonderful. And it's the
amazing.
best popcorn I've ever had too, by the way.
Oh my
I didn't say
goodness.
that I mean, I don't know them. I didn't say that to promote any specific company, but
No,
but
that's
they
fine. You
awesome.
can definitely do that. It's funny that you you mentioned popcorn because we were at Disney the other day with my husband and I were at Disney with my daughter and her husband, and they were making fun of the way that I say popcorn. And they said, "Is it a puppy?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "You're saying popcorn."
You got a
And
little bit of England left in you. Okay.
yeah, and it's like, do I have to say pop? My mouth can't even say popcorn. It's just popcorn, you know? And they were just making because my husband's he's from West Virginia and my daughter's husband's from Georgia.
Oh
And
boy, you
here
got
I
a
am.
whole mixture of yeah.
I'm from Maine. And so, yeah, in Maine we say pizza, not pizza,
Right.
and we say roof, not roof.
Yeah, we say roof up here in New York too,
And
upstate New York,
we say creek, not crick.
not crick. There just should be more companies like that, though. There's no reason. There's
Absolutely.
no
We got
reason
it.
why more companies that recognize the value and the strength of having a person with autism work for them because
I think down here there is a company. I can't remember the name of it, but it was parents that started the company. And so if you can get a, business proposal and write up a business proposal and go to the, what do you, city, is it city hall that you would, you know, um,
I'm not
ask
sure.
for like a business loan or something? I think that that's how they get those things started. And there's just so many amazing things that can be done.
Yeah.
It's going to take the parents to do it. It's going to take somebody to create change. We need to create change. If we
And
don't,
that's how Popcorn for the People was started. That was done by, I'm quite sure it was the parent that did that
yeah,
for the son,
absolutely.
and it's grown. But yeah, if you think about it, the typical person with autism, first of all, isn't typical, but most most likely has that mindset of do one thing repetitively and do it right, or however you learn it is how I'm going to continue to do it. So,
Yes.
with my son anyway, he's got such a good sense of humor and he does. He likes to, this is what I've learned and I'm going to keep doing that. And so make that work, It
Yeah,
just would
exactly.
like to see that. So anyway, as you asked me a question and you got a lot of an answer, but
Oh, no, that's fine. I forgot to ask, does your son have any kind of, does he have, I know you said he doesn't have anything other than autism, but I'm just wondering, is there any OCD in there? Because I know OCD is repetitive or having to do a certain thing at a certain time. Does he have anything
A little
like
bit.
that at
Yeah.
all?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we have some OCD in the family, and I'm not going to throw a specific person under the bus, but it can be quite challenging. I mean,
Yeah.
to the
Yeah, and
point.
I'm sure there was challenges in the workplace, but
No, but I mean,
it is.
when it's in the home, it in the home itself, where the
Oh,
rest of
oh,
the family has to kind of,
oh yes. There has
you know,
always been those quirks.
yes, the rest
It's
of the
his way.
family has to
Yeah.
kind of go along with it too, you know?
Oh yeah. That
So,
those are
oh, go
some of the
ahead.
things. Yeah, those were some there were some things that we just knew this is the way it is.
Right,
So,
exactly.
and that's
So
fine.
now I
But
wanted to ask you how you see your story growing. And um, I think we already talked about the support that you would want to get, but just is your seeing your story growing, is that having to do with getting those books published and what kind of support that you would need to get that done, or is it something else? Is there something else that helps you that would help you to get your story growing and circulating out there besides the written books?
um yeah, the written books, I'm hoping that the especially the second written book would just kind of grow on its own. And
Right.
but the support networks, I suppose I'd like to see that grow.
Yeah.
Um
And
yeah,
the things that we've already discussed, such as the positive things about um,
having them
employing,
in the place, yes.
yes,
Hmm.
employing those with autism. Okay. And do you have any parts of your story that you feel are unresolved, or do you pretty much know um, what you need to work on and you're already doing it? Or is there something that's unresolved and that you would like to work on a little bit more of your own story, of yourself?
Not really. I'm a work in progress, and I'm continuing to work on myself, um and I'm hoping that my growth will continue to benefit my son and
Yes.
of course my other children too, but my
Yes,
son.
because we have to work on ourselves in order to help other people.
Mhm.
We have to be well. We have to
Right.
be well physically, emotionally,
Mhm.
mentally, in all areas. We have to be well. Do you have any advice other than how about what I asked you a little while ago in regards to some advice? Was that in regards to the advocating? Or was it about the book? Because I think it was about the advocating, like what advice can you do? And you said that it was reaching out, networking,
Mhm. Yeah, that
getting
was
your voice out there.
the advocating. Yeah.
That was the advocating.
I
Okay, I
don't
wanted
have
to,
advice about the book because really I'm looking for the advice about the book, but I know where to
right.
look. We have a network, so
Right, exactly, exactly. So, well, anyway, I wanted to thank you so much for being my guest today. I really enjoyed our conversation. I think that this is going to help a lot of people out there. This platform is for this sort of topic, as well as, empty nesters and estrangements and stuff like that. But the caregiving part, and especially for adult children with autism, that's a big one, and it needs to be heard and it needs to be seen, and people need to come out and they need to talk about it. And I appreciate your vulnerability of doing that with me today. I think that it's going to be a very, very positive effect on my listeners, and I really appreciate you coming. And so that concludes my episode today with Autumn, and I hope her journey has resonated, encouraged, and motivated you to start your journey in doing different. Thank you again, Autumn, for being my guest. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you. And I want to let everybody know not to forget to subscribe, like, and share this podcast so we can get it out to as many people, women, men, anybody, kids, as possible so that they don't feel alone in their journey. And if you are a woman over the age of 50 and you have a story to share, a passion to ignite, or wisdom to impart, I would love for you to join me on my podcast. All the information is included in the description of this podcast below. And if you're interested and being interviewed on Doing Different with Kimmie, just go right ahead and follow those websites and the email and get in touch with me, and we'll get that set up. And also, Autumn, again, thank you. And until next time, keep doing different. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.